Hello and welcome, my name is Haas, and this is a quick look for a game currently in alpha called HEX Shards of Fate. It was in fact a game on Kickstarter, and you could say it was quite successful. They raised around $2 million, and the plan is that it's going to be an MMO TCG. So as you can see here on my cards, I'm just gonna draw again, and hope I get something better. Well, this will have to do. So basically the game is quite similar to Magic the Gathering at its core, for anyone that has played MTG. For instance, here we played a resource, a sapphire, that is quite similar to lands, though a little bit different. And I can, by the way, manage these phases before I continue. But here you can see I have two kinds of resources in my hand. I have a blood shard and I have a diamond shard. I am basically playing a two-colored deck. For instance, this paladin requires two of which must be a diamond. This one requires two, one of which must be a blood. So I'm just going to play this diamond shard over here, and you can see it pops onto the battlefield. So it skips these two turns, the attack and defense phase, which I obviously can't do without a creature, and then we'll hand it over to this little dwarf over here. You might wonder, is that a techno dwarf? Yes it is, that's a techno dwarf. You might also wonder, am I a bunny? No, I'm a hare. Get things straight, hares are much superior beings to bunnies, and I'm a hare beating up a techno dwarf. It makes sense. Come on. So these things aren't actually cosmetic. Let's just quickly play a diamond before I continue, and we'll go to my final phase, and then I'll play this little paladin. So these things aren't actually cosmetic. I didn't just pick an avatar, though I probably would pick this hare as an avatar. But basically when you are creating a deck, you have to select a champion, which will then give you a champion ability. So because he has this techno dwarf, he can create a worker bot when he has 3 charges, which he just got because he played a resource. There you can see he actually played the cards, so now he's gonna get a creature. So, because he played that sapphire, he got a resource. He requires 1 sapphire and 3 charges, as you can see. And now he got this 1/1 cute little creature, which is fine and all, but I can create abominations. So, you know, that is just objectively better. Basically, every time you play a resource, so a shard, you get one of those charges. Maybe you have some actual cards that give you charges. There are some minions. Let's see here. So it's currently stuck in the prep phase. I must state this is definitely alpha. The game will break and bug out and freeze and all those kind of lovely things from time to time, but when it does work, it is quite a fun game. So let's play this Shinhare Highborn. So we need 1 blood for that, so let's plop this blood on the battlefield. Now we can play this guy, but first I'm going to attack. See what he does. He does have 3 resources saved up, so he might have some bag of tricks in his hand. If he does, I have this stone skin. Let's see, and he can defend with his 1/1 obviously, but the 1/1 will die. He doesn't, he takes the 2 damage, so basically we've won at this point. I'm just gonna play the Shinhare Highborn, which is just a 1/1, but when it dies it creates battle hoppers, which are 0/1 creatures, but I can buff them up. I still have 1 resource for Stone Skin, in case he does any funny things. Stone Skin basically allows me to interrupt or cancel out any ability targeting me or one of my minions. So, decks in HEX require a minimum of 6, or 60 rather, 6 would be ridiculous, 60 cards. He's gonna play a Technical Genius. But decks require a minimum of 60 cards. You can have more than 60, but obviously you will want to optimize it around 60 if you can. Then there's a Graveyard, and the Void is similar to Exile for those that have played MTG. So these turn things are quite nice on the field, but sadly they are actually hidden behind these cards. Alpha is alpha, I assume they're gonna touch that up a bit. I do already really like the card art in HEX, I must say. Let's see here. I think we'll play the Shard of Fate. It adds a 0/1 resource, which means it adds 1 to my max, but not 1 to my current. And since I don't need to use any resources right now, because I don't have any good cards, I'll just use Shards of Fate. And now I can look into my deck, and I think we'll just go with a blood. It doesn't really matter at this point. And then, you know what? I think I'll just attack him with this 2/2 paladin. He's not gonna block with the Technical Genius. If he does, then that's great, because I want to kill it. The idea is that I'm gonna lure him out, so next turn, he's probably gonna attack me with this 1/2 because it has 2 health, and my guy only has 1. So then I can use Heroic Inspiration, make it a 9/9, and kill his 1/2. Which is a fiendishly clever plan, if I say so myself. It is truly a master strike if he falls for it. So basically, he could have actually double blocked my paladin, and I would have lost my paladin, but I would have killed his Technical Genius. I have a lot of these guys. They get +1/+1 if I gain health. I don't have any cards that gain me health right now, so, you know, he's sort of expendable. The paladins are actually the backbone of my build. So let's see, here's his turn. So again, I'm hoping for him to attack me with this guy. He played a Sapphire, he's 1 ahead right now. He can't use his ability quite yet because he lacks 1 charge. I'm only on 4 resources, so he does have that going. But we're 4 health ahead. That is not at all a big deal in card games. He has that Worker Bot, which is just defensive, so he can't actually attack with it. He plays a Worker Bot Factory. Oh no, more Worker Bots. What will we ever do? Those 1/1 defensive creatures. Truly, truly terrible. I will say though, the Dwarf decks have a lot of silly things they can do by tapping stuff. So, hopefully attack with this guy, so we can get rid of that 1 less artifact cost. He will probably do it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Good boy. Heroic Inspiration. And he has fallen for my trap card. Block with the hair. Buff him up to be a super hair. 9/9. He gets +8/+8. How do we get rid of this? I think zoom out. There we go. And now it's a 9/9 hair. A scary, scary bunny. And that's a dead dwarf. And there we go. That's, I'd say worth it, because 1 less cost for artifacts is quite a big deal. He is playing definitely an artifact build. And there are some really good artifact cards in the game, so you gotta be a bit careful here. Those Worker Bots obviously are just there to absorb damage. And for him to tap with other cards. So I got an Ivory Pawn. This is great. That can trigger off my Paladin, or rather my Paladin can trigger off the Pawn. So I'm gonna play this before I attack, because then I can trigger this, gain 1 health. I can tap this every single turn. This guy gets +1/+1. Bugged out a little bit there. It's not 33, it's 3/3. So I'm gonna attack now. He might defend with the 1/1, but that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I'd rather just do damage, but if he wants to defend... And there we go. 13 now. And we also gotta keep Stone Skin in the back of our minds here, because he could, of course, play something that removes things. So, I have 4 charge level, as you can see. Next turn, I'll play the other Blood Shard, so I get 5 charge level. Then I can turn 2 of my creatures into Abominations. Now, I don't want to do that on the Paladin, because he's going to get ridiculously buffed up. Not 33 ridiculous, sadly, but still something. Let's see if he plays a Worker Bot. So basically, I want to start sacrificing this guy, so I can create 2 Battle Hoppers and transform those Battle Hoppers into much scarier Abominations. So, let's see what he's gonna do. He's gonna play a Researcher Adept. Control an artifact, draw a card. Okay, that's quite nice. He, of course, controls an artifact. 2 infect. That little Worker Bot counts as an artifact as well. Still only means he gets 1 card though, so he's luckily not getting cumulative effects from that. Alright, time for our phase. I am not going to use this Ivory Pawn yet in our prep phase, because we might... that's exactly what I mean. We might draw into something that we can buff. So I am just going to play this Paladin now. And then I'll use the Ivory Pawn, buffing up both of them. Let's use the Blood Shard. Now we'll gain 1 health. More importantly, we'll get a 4/4 and a 3/3. We can't attack with the 3/3 yet, obviously, because I just played it. And that's how it works in card games. And I will attack with the 1/1 because I want 2 Battle Hoppers, so I can transform them into glorious Abominations. Hopefully he'll block with the 1/1, but I don't see why he would. He's thinking about it though. We do have Stone Skin. In case he does anything. He only has 1 resource, so I don't imagine he can do much. And we have 4. So he might actually think I have a very good card in my hands. I think that's exactly why. He might think I have another... Well, Heroic Inspiration wouldn't work, but I do have some cards that can actually buff up creatures. Anyway, there's our Battle Hoppers. Let's transform them into great Abominations. The Hoppers served us well for those 5 seconds that they were on the board. And now they're transforming into Abominations. That 0/0 part obviously isn't correct. And now the game is gonna sync. Yep. There we go, it's gonna sync. It always does that after this ability. Alpha is alpha, of course. Let's hope it just doesn't crash on us right now. That would be a shame. But these things should, they're not gonna get 0/0. It should sync out. I think they're gonna be like 3/3. And there we go. It says 0/2. That's a bit weird. Hopefully it'll do that in our turn then. And otherwise we just buff them with 1 whole defense. Yay, because that would be completely pointless for us. Yeah, they should be 3 plus combined strength. And 3 plus combined defense. Yeah, that should be 3-5 then. He played a secret lab. Allows him to draw cards and then discard one. So he can pick. See what he's actually gonna use it for. I really like the card art, again, on these things. Mutate switches strength and defense, or attack and defense, whatever you want to call it, and he can draw a card. I presume it's mostly for the card draw thing, although he can actually kill one of my paladins now. Not this one. This should even out. We win next turn though, unless he, well, he did just play a Worker bot. But we should have, that's what, 13 damage? He's gonna use the secret lab. He might block that with the research add-up, but that would be fine. We still have enough damage to kill him. And he discarded another lab. Can never have too many labs, I think. But he obviously didn't agree. He's not gonna attack now, he needs to defend. If he attacks, I'm just gonna let it through and then we definitely win. He is going to attack. So we just let it through, because what's the danger here? And then we should be able to do 13 damage next turn. Well, he will block one of them. Although the abominations didn't... I hope that's just a visual bug. Yeah, I know this ability has worked before. I've used this deck quite a lot so far. So I'm gonna assume it's just a visual bug. Otherwise, we will have to take one more turn. Again, alpha is alpha. Let's buff up our paladins. We got a third one now. And let's just attack with everything. I really hope they're gonna do damage. Although I guess that's why he didn't attack me, because he assumes they're just 0-2. I hope that assumption is wrong. He's gonna block a 5-5. That's a lot of damage, and he didn't die. Right, great. So we have 0-2 abominations. Not nearly as scary as they look on the concept art. It can happen. Alpha is alpha. They should definitely be 3 something. He's gonna use another Sapphire. We still have Stone Skin. Again, though, we do win next turn. He has to make a... Well, he can create a Worker bot, and then he can still block. Right, we can do... Well, now the abominations don't actually work. He's gonna use the lab. We can do, what, 11 damage? No. What's that, 12 damage? Well, actually, it's gonna be 15, of course, because we are going to use that white pawn before we attack. What did he discard? What's this? A Volcanon. Great name. Good card, but obviously he can't use it right now. He's gonna create a Worker bot to throw a wrench in our plans. He's gonna use Mimic. I am going to stone from that, because that means he will get a 5-5, and I don't want him to get a 5-5. That's all his resources, so he can't do anything after this. So we Stone Skin this. He doesn't get a 5-5. It goes straight into the graveyard, the Mimic card. And there we go. We just saved ourselves the pain of a 5-5 Paladin. We can't win yet, but victory is definitely within our reach. He's not going to attack, because then we definitely win. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's see what we get. Come on, come on, come on. And it's a Command Tower. That's actually perfect, because we just needed 2 more damage. And now that's a 4-4. The Command Tower will make it a 5-4, which means we do just enough damage. Let's call a GG. Never call early GG. That's just rude. But he doesn't have any resources, so we do win here. The abominations can actually make themselves useful now. Way too late, but it's something. As soon as the game goes into the attack phase, please don't freeze on me now. There we go. Let's just attack with the abominations. Let them do something at least. And just waiting for him to do blockers, but he can't win. We do, yeah, there we go. We do 6 damage now to him at least. Well, it's gonna be 8. But either way, we've won. That's first victory. Let's do one more match, and then we'll have a look at the decks and finish up this quick look. So here comes match number 2. Alright, we got another dwarf as an enemy. We are not a dwarf, we are not a hare either, we are a slightly angry woman called Lady Elizabeth. Let's see what kind of cards we're getting. Just gonna minimize this. You can't turn it off yet, which is a little bit annoying. You know what, let's keep this. We do have this bottle here, so I can actually draw a card. It's a bit heavy on the resources, but we'll go with it. This is a dual color deck as well, a ruby and diamond, and it's all about this inspire mechanic. So as another troop with cost equal to or greater than this troop costs enter play, under your control, it gets permanent stat fast in this case. So this one, for instance, will not give stat fast, but will give more attack. And basically the entire deck is like that. So we'll just play a diamond first, and then we'll play this little bottle. So this bottle allows us to get a health, a charge, and a card. It's mostly for the card, but we do need 2 resources to actually trigger the bottle, which we can do next turn. So he can draw a card, which is ever so boring, but very effective, turns out, in trading card games. We have a less effective, but slightly less boring ability where we can get an Adamanthian Elite. He played the Ancestor's Chosen. That gives him an Ancestral Spectre, which goes into his deck, which is quite interesting. So, the Adamantium Elite is a 5-cost 3/3. Pretty bad card, really, but it's mostly to trigger off the Inspire stuff. So, let's play another resource. Doesn't really matter which one. We just want to play the Shield Bearer right now. We're not going to use the bottle yet, because we want to use the Shield Bearer. The reason we want to use the Shield Bearer right now is mainly because we then actually have a defender. He can't attack us with that 1/1. We can still kill it now. And as you can see, every time he gets a Ancestral Spectre, which goes right into his deck every time his turn starts, which is really nasty because they are... He's going to play another one. This is going to get out of control. They're really nasty cards, essentially. I think they just cost 1 resource and they have like 2/2 and flying and you get to draw a card. They're really good, essentially. And he's not going to attack, of course. We do want to try and kill that. We do have Repel now, where we can destroy attacking target. Let's just see what kind of card we can draw. So, we drew the Legionnaire of Gawain. Really good card. For every card that inspired it, it deals 1 damage to each opposing champion and troop when we play it. So that Shield Bearer counts. The Sword Trainer counts. Yeah, let's just play a Ruby. And that's all we can do for now. I think we will attack... Maybe he'll block, I highly doubt it. But if he doesn't block, we're actually 2 damage ahead every single turn. And we did already get 1 health, of course, from the bottle early on. Hopefully it will block, because we do want to get rid of these as soon as possible, but he would be pretty insane to block this. Unless he has like 1,000 more of those cards in his hand right now, but... The Shield Bearer, honestly, I mean, it is nice, but we don't necessarily need it. Nah, he's just, okay, he gets more Spectres. He now gets 2 Spectres every single turn. Which, again, it's just gonna get crazy. We're just gonna get overwhelmed by Spectres. He's going to draw more cards. Because, you know, if there was anything he lacked, it was card draw at this point. Then I presume he's gonna attack me for 2, which should even our damage output out a little bit. He isn't, actually. It may have just been a misclick. It doesn't really matter, 2 damage at this point. See what we draw. We drew into a Ruby Pyromancer. We will play that right now. We can also use our champion ability, but we want to get as many inspired on the field as we can to trigger off that Legionnaire of Gawain thing. So let's see. We'll play the Ruby Pyromancer first, I think, and then we'll play the Sword Trainer. Because the Sword Trainer also gets it increases damage based on the damage it has, so we want to have it being buffed by the Ruby Pyromancer first. Yeah, so that's gonna be the plan. We'll play the Ruby Pyromancer, then the Sword Trainer, then the Legionnaire of Gawain for 3 damage to everything in his dwarven face. For now, we won't attack, I think, this time. Because we are ahead in damage, so we might as well, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'll play the Ruby Pyromancer again, and it gets Steadfast from the Shield Bearer. And now we have 2 for the Legionnaire of Gawain, which is gonna do 2 damage all around. He plays another Sapphire, so now we're even on resources, and a Flock of Seagulls, which prevents all combat damage dealt to that creature. Legionnaire of Gawain doesn't care. Doesn't care for the birds. He plays more birds, so he thinks he now has 2 relatively immortal creatures. But hopefully we can eat right through them. Some tasty, tasty birds. And he's not going to attack, of course. It's going to be it for him, alright. And another Legionnaire of Gawain. That's wonderful. We don't have the resources though. Just gonna use this ability. So we get an Adamanthian Elite. It doesn't cost us anything to use it right now, of course. So there you go. It's a 5/3/3. Pretty bad, but it triggers off all the Inspire mechanics. We're not gonna attack. He can just block them with his birds. And then he can attack us right after. So we'll just play the Sword Trainer. Who gets 3/2 and Steadfast now. So next turn, hopefully we'll draw into a resource so we can use a Legionnaire of Gawain and kill every single thing he has. Including the darn birds. Especially the birds. Those are the main thing I want to kill at this point. He's going to draw more cards, of course. Because that's pretty much everything he's been doing right now, so why would he stop at this point? And what the heck is a Menacing Grolk? And displays exhaust opposing troop. Can't ready during their control's next step. That is pretty nasty. Which at least means he can attack me now. And I sort of have a feeling that he might play on that with some other cards. There's some really nasty blue cards that prevents stuff from being from getting ready, essentially. He can't do that now at least, because he just used all his resources. And that's gonna be it. Please, a resource. And that's a resource. Wonderful. So we're going to play this. This should kill the Grolk, or whatever it is, as well. Actually, we could play the Adamanthian Elite, but right now we should be able to trigger off 3, so do 3 damage against every single thing, because we have the Sword Trainer, the Pyromancer, and the Shield Trainer. So we'll just play the Legionnaire of Gawain, one of them anyway. We still have one left off. There goes 1. There goes 2. There goes 1 nasty bird. 2 nasty birds, and 3 nasty birds. No. Takes 2 Took 2 damage for some reason. No, these should all trigger. Yeah. Alright, I guess that's just a little bug. One of these doesn't seem to be buffing the Legionnaire of Gawain's damage that way. But that's fine, we mainly killed the birds. So I would say that's a victory for common sense, really, more than anything. Who uses seagulls? Really. Yeah, it should have killed the Grolk as well. But there we go. Dead seagulls. See what he's gonna do. He's gonna play another Grolk, of course. So now we can't attack with the 7/3 next turn. And I guess that's gonna be it. He's gonna attack for me. He's gonna attack for him. I wish it was for me. With 2 damage. Not 32. All the birds. Why would a dwarf use birds? It doesn't make sense. And we drew into a knight. I don't want to play the other Legionnaire of Gawain, because obviously one of them doesn't trigger, so I would only damage them for 2 each. So we need another Inspire. I could use Inner Conflict to stop one, but it doesn't really seem worth it. I might just play the Cloud Knight just to block, but I don't think I really need to do that either. I mean, they only do 4 damage every turn. But I'm just gonna play the Cloud Knight at this point. And we do have Repel ready as well then, because Cloud Knight only costs 3, so then we have 2 for Repel, so we can actually kill one next turn. He's just reading it. Cloud Knight gets buffed, so it has Life Drain, Flight, and Steadfast. Life Drain and Steadfast, well, they're pretty obvious. Steadfast means it can both attack and defend, it won't tap. And obviously, all my cards now have Steadfast from this Shield Trainer. Let's see what he's gonna do. So actually, our knight has double the Steadfast now, which is not at all useful. And there's one Ancestral Spectre. When it enters play, it gets a card, as you can see. It's a 2/2. Who's gonna get a card? He's using another Sapphire. Alright. And there, yep, that's exactly what I meant. He's gonna use a Mesmerize. Troop can't ready. He's gonna use it on my awesome Legionnaire. That glorious man there, who now can't do anything. Darn cats. Cats and birds. Really? And another Mesmerize on the Sword Trainer. Okay. That is, that's not nice. So these 2 cards are going to be useless from this point on. He's going to attack me for 4. I might repel one. Let's see, I could block one as well with the Cloud Knight, but I don't really want to do that right now yet. I'd rather do it once the 2/2 is gone as well, so we can start doing damage. And I can get rid of the 2/2 with the Legionnaire, of course. There we go, birds and cats. And there we have a effigy of Nulzan, which is quite an interesting card. It has socketable, meaning you can put a socket into it when you're a gem into the socket, rather, when you're building it. I put this one in, so they get +1/+1 every time it attacks. You can do that during the deck builder, which is quite an interesting mechanic. So let's see here. I do want to play it and the Legionnaire so I can actually start attacking, so I can start buffing all my stuff. But then we do need to kill both of the birds. So I think we'll defend, play the effigy now. Then I have enough for repel next turn. So then next turn he attacks me with both of the birds, I presume. I'm just gonna block one and repel the other. And then with the Legionnaire of Gawain, kill the spectral whatever the heck it is. It's not a bird, it's not a cat, it's a spectre. And then we should be able to start attacking him for a lot of damage. And more cards. Yeah, sure. Why not? He's on 3 right now in his hand, but he's been playing a lot of them. 8 sapphires. He's steaming ahead in resources. More birds. Doesn't matter. We're killing those with the Legionnaire. He's just ready for some birds. And I presume he's going to attack both. Because he... I mean, for him, it would seem like a win to kill the Cloud Knight. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I think... I'm gonna repel one and then block the other. Because the Legionnaire will kill both the other things and then we can just full out attack. I say full out, we still have 2 guys that are sleeping forever now, of course. But I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So let's repel one. Kills one bird. Oh, and you know, I don't actually need to block, of course, because it taps. So then we can still attack next turn. So I'm not going to block with the knight. I want to attack with the knight. Alright, perfect. Well, you know, it could have been more perfect if we didn't take 9 damage, but whatever. Let's see what we get. Though we kind of already have our... Yeah, we already have our strategy. That's another shield trainer. We could play it and do 4 damage. Well, I guess it would be 3 damage then this time. Then we would actually kill the Grog. Don't know if I want to wait for that though. I mean, I can attack now with everything. And with the effigy of Nulzan, everything. Each one of my troops. Right? Yeah, each one of my troops will get +1/+1. So I'm gonna play the Legionnaire now. And then we just full out attack. The Legionnaire will kill the spectral thing and the birds. And it won't kill the Grog. But now we can attack, buff up our entire army, and do a truckload of damage to him. Which... we didn't need birds or cats to do it. There we go. Now we buff up everything. And now he needs to do something miraculous, because we win next turn. We even have inner conflict. If we just want to attack with the knight for some reason. He might mesmerize more of my stuff, I suppose. Another spectral thing. That's fine so far. He's gonna play another one. Alright, he might have enough to start defending here. I mean, we can attack with 5 characters next turn. We only need to attack with one of them. Just one needs to get through. So if that's... he does still have 7 resources. This is a bit dicey. But I'm just gonna inner conflict one. Doesn't really matter which one, honestly. And then we just attack. And I think that's a victory. Unless he does something weird. I mean, he can only block 2. Let's see what he does. Nope, there we go. That's victory number 2. A very different match. Against the dwarf as well, but this guy didn't use artifacts, of course. Let's have one final look at the deck builder that's currently in the game. So here you can see the menu. They have a few things in mind here. There's supposed to be a castle, and there's supposed to be actual PvE aspects coming. They're not in this build yet. When they do get in the build, I will definitely show them. This is the deck builder. As you can see, here we have the all the cards and the champion that we can set up. This is the inspiration deck, as I called it, so creatively. Let's remove these suppressive fire cards. Actually, I don't use them that much, and I would like a few more resources. Here I'm just sorting it on the resources that I'm actually using. I think I'll just put a few more resource cards in here, because I am lacking a little bit in this deck. But let's have a look at a few cards. Here's His Majesty. Protector and Defender is one of those socket gem cards, so I can put in any socket I want from this list. Obviously though, putting in the blue or green ones doesn't make much sense, because I can't use it that way. But this effigy, for instance, I of course put in this gem here. But one nice thing to note is I can put in a completely different gem if I want to into this second one. So say I want damage when I play this card, I can just socket in that gem instead. And now I have two completely different effigy of Nulzen cards. I don't want that in this case, but it is a very nice mechanic that I do like seeing. Just a lot of nice customization seems to be their goal for this game so far, with the champions and with the socket cards like that. So beyond that, I just have a few cards you didn't see. The Royal Falconer, for instance, gets 2 extra falcons based on their damage. Very nice with the Inspire mechanics. Then, as you can see, they do already have quite a nice pool of cards in this game. Some I am using, like Inner Conflict here, but there's also a bunch of, like for example, I didn't use any red cards that are more offensive oriented, but for example this one, if it loads Burn, which just does damage to a target troop, or Crimson Clarity gives you extra resources for 1 turn, more damage. Red is of course very offensive oriented, so I combined it with a very defensive diamond in this case, to make an Inspire deck. And then here you have the resources, so I just put in 2 more and save it. And let's load up my my other deck, which has an even better name, Hair Healadin 2. I know, it is absolute genius. So as you can see, a lot of cards I didn't actually get to see. These Wretched Blood are one of my main cards in this deck actually. Every time I lose 1 health, but I get a Battle Hopper every single turn, which goes really well with these human clerics, which give me 1 health when a troop comes into play. That of course triggers really nicely. Then there's quite a few more, like a Murder is just a straight up kill thing. Heroic Inspiration you of course saw. So this is very much based on just mass units, and here you can see the champions. As you can see, this coming soon signs, they are meant to be able to get loot, which is quite interesting. You can see a few details of the actual decks. I haven't looked into this much, but that's quite nice for if you're building your deck. Again, the armor parts, and then you can just switch your champion when you're making a deck. So I got this one right here, but I can put in pretty much anyone I want. Obviously, I do need the actual resources, so right now I'm using a white-purple one. In this case, a Diamond Blood. So putting in this one, for example, the Coyote with Wings or the Orc guy. Well, the Orc guy works, but the Coyote with Wings doesn't really. This is hilarious. The Mammal Squirrel Titan is exactly as crazy as it sounds. But yeah, that's basically a look at the deck builder. Quite a lot you can do. Quite a lot of different cards already in the game. I actually didn't show the green cards at all. So let's have a quick look at and see what they can actually do. But here's a few artifacts, by the way. Some crazy ones, like Argus, Herald of Doom. Never a fun time when you're up against them. Let's have a look at a few green cards. So that's the one color I didn't show, I think. Green has a lot of the hair cards, actually. The standard, well, the demo hair deck has blood green. Wild Growth, very nice card. Wild Aura. Cray Squirrel Titan. Yeah, why not? Why not? You got Gigantosaur. Yeah, there's a lot of big cards, a lot of buff cards, similar a bit to the diamond ones, of course. A lot of heavier ones. Goblin Cooking Pot. Haven't seen this being used yet, but it looks amazing. Again, just really like the card art they already have going. I will try and cover this game more in the future, especially when they start adding the PvE aspects and things like that, the actual MMO TCG parts, which are quite curious, and let's hope they can pull it off. So this has been a quick look for HEX Shards of Fate. My name has been Haas, and I'll see you in the next video.